Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Casey for those of you that are new here. And as you can tell by the title, today I am finally sharing my labor story. Honestly, I have been delaying making this video just because I'm still a little bit traumatized from the whole situation of giving birth and labor and postpartum and everything. So just to give you a little backstory, I did have gestational diabetes throughout the end of my pregnancy, but regardless of that fact, I actually had a vaginal water birth with no medication. So I just have my phone here to help me with telling you the story because it's just all kind of blurry still because of how traumatized it was, but I'll try my best to tell you guys. But I just want to say that if you're pregnant or if you're a mom or if you're just curious about, labor and giving birth, stay towards the end and I hope you like this video. So just to give you guys some background, I am 25 years old and this was my first ever pregnancy and my first ever baby. Honestly, my pregnancy was mostly okay in the beginning. I felt so alive. Nothing really significant happened, like in a bad way. But towards like the 28th week, I was actually diagnosed with gestational diabetes. So, with gestational diabetes, a lot of people think that you develop it because your diet is very bad during pregnancy, but I'm here to assure you that that is not the case. Just because you are diagnosed with gestational diabetes, that doesn't mean that you eat a lot of sugar or your diet is unhealthy or you're not exercising enough. That does not mean that at all. When you have gestational diabetes in the UK, they actually assign you to a online class where you can take and learn everything about gestational diabetes. And I'm just going to give you a very brief description of what it is. Basically, because of your pregnancy hormones, your body does not produce enough insulin. So when it doesn't produce enough insulin and when you eat like carbs like bread, rice or anything sugary, there's not enough insulin to break down the sugar. And if you clicked on this video purely because you have gestational diabetes and you kind of don't know how to manage that, please don't be scared. Don't be scared because this is a completely normal thing in pregnancy. Everyone can get it, but I still managed it well and I still gave vaginal birth. And a lot of people say that when you have gestational diabetes, you end up having a C-section or you end up having to be induced. I was not induced, guys. I gave birth naturally, had no medication, and yes, I felt everything. And once you give birth, you no longer have it. So once you're diagnosed with gestational diabetes, you're gonna have extra monitoring, you're gonna have extra appointments so the midwives can check on you, check on the baby if the baby's okay. Now, you're gonna go on a diet when you have gestational diabetes. It's very important that you do not consume any more sugar, any more carbs. And in the UK, you're given a device where you constantly check your blood pressure in the morning after you eat and before bed and when you're fasting and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very monitored, it's very safe, everyone's safe. I don't think you should worry about it, but it's okay. I understand completely that is something very normal that you're worrying about, but don't. Also, the more you're worrying, the more you're anxious about this, if your baby's okay, you just end up having more anxiety and it's not good for yourself or the baby. I also had very, very low iron. Every single time when I woke up or I tried to go downstairs, I just felt very dizzy, very nauseous, like I couldn't do anything. Everything was heavy, my back was hurting, the belly was so big. I just found myself constantly laying in bed, and the second I woke up, I started to feel dizzy and I started to feel nauseous. That's not a good thing. How can we fix it? Well, actually, if you go to your midwife, they actually do check your iron levels. And if they're very low, they actually give you iron tablets that you have to take with vitamin C every single morning. I would say that the iron tablets gave me really bad constipation. I just prayed to God and left it at that. So now let's talk about the actual birth giving. So just to recap, I had her on May 12th, and on May 11th at night I started having contractions. I have this app on my phone where it tracks the contractions, and they were around 5 minutes apart. I didn't know if this was real contractions or just like a normal belly pain towards the end of the pregnancy. Mind you, I had her exactly 39 weeks. So I had very bad contractions. Well, I wouldn't say very bad, but I would say that they were painful enough for me to know that they were something more serious. So I was actually woken up from my contractions at around 3 a.m. in the morning on the 12th of May. I actually stayed rolling on the ball, hanging on my bed. I didn't wake up my husband because I feel like he needed the rest more than I did. And also the midwife says that it's better if one partner has rest so they can be there for you. And if you don't have any sleep, just, you just have to go through it by yourself, which is insane, but it makes sense. Right, so I'm having contractions 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and they are spaced between 5 minutes each contraction. And they are progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And by the time it's 8 a.m., mind you, I have not slept all the way through 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. And by the time it's like around 8 a.m., my husband wakes up and he's like, just acting like everything is normal while I've been in pain the whole night. And that just made me so upset. Like, obviously I shouldn't be upset, but I was just so upset, and I started bawling my eyes out, not only from pain, but also I was very just, sleep deprived, and everything just adds up. Guys, I had to take her because she was just, yeah. But anyways, let's go back to the labor story. So I wake up at like 8 a.m. and my husband's like, what the hell is going on? Why are you crying? Stuff like that. And I'm telling him, I think I'm having contractions. I think today is the day. And then he's like, just very calm, haven't had his morning coffee. So he goes to have his morning coffee, right? And he comes back. Meanwhile, I'm still in a lot of pain, but I call the midwife and I tell the midwife, I think I'm having a lot of pain. I think it's contractions. They're 5 minutes apart from each other. And also, I started bleeding. And the blood was like in a very brownish, dark brownish color. And I was so concerned. But she assured me that that was old blood and there's nothing to be concerned about, and that I am actually in labor. Right, guys, I had to shower her because she did a number 2. And I gave her to her grandparents. So now I can continue my story. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think I was where I called the midwife. Anyways, I called the midwife and then I told her about the blood and everything. And she was like, yeah, you are in labor. So we already had our hospital bags packed prior to that. And we knew that this day was gonna come. So we had all of the bags packed and just waiting to go to the hospital. We booked an Uber. We did not get any bags because we thought that we might be sent back home. But in the Uber, I was having even worse contractions, and they were 3 to 4 minutes apart, and they were so painful, guys. You don't even know. It's not like period pains. People said that it's like, oh, it's like period pains, contractions are like period pains. No, it has nothing to do with period pains. It is not period pains. I have very bad cramps, right? I have insane periods, and that on its own, it's a whole different type of pain compared to contractions. I'm not even exaggerating. 3 to 4 minutes apart, but I still had time to breathe and to calm myself. And my husband was next to me. He was like, everything's gonna be okay. He's anxious, I'm anxious, I don't know what's gonna happen. So we get to the hospital, and I already called him and I told him I'm on my way, I can't do this anymore, I'm crying on the phone. And then they tell me, okay, well, just come to the hospital and we will check you. So I go to the reception desk and they ask me, are you having contractions right now? And I'm like, yeah. Like, she can see tears rolling down my face. they're like, okay, take a seat and we'll have a midwife ready for you. I kid you not, when a midwife came to take us from the waiting area and I stood up, I did like 2 steps and I had to stop because the pain got even worse. Mind you, that's like already 10 a.m. in the morning. So at 10 a.m. in the morning, I'm already at the hospital, already put in a separate room. So when you get there, they ask you, what type of birth do you want? And I'm like, I want to have a water birth. So they put me into this separate room. It's like a waiting room. There's a bed for myself, and then there's like another bed for where my partner sat as well. So I laid on the hospital bed. My contractions started getting even worse. Mind you, that's like around 11 a.m. in the morning. So around 11 a.m., someone comes to check on me. There's 2 midwives. One is a trainee and one is an actual midwife. So the midwife checks how much I'm dilated. And I really thought she was gonna say like 7 or 6 centimeters. But actually I was 5 centimeters. And I was like, oh my god, I'm like halfway there. Not the answer I was expecting, but it was still okay because some people don't progress, and I progressed actually quite quickly. And mind you, I did not do any exercises. Not that you shouldn't, but I just didn't. But this was my experience. She said that they were going to get the bath ready for me at around like 1 p.m. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. This is really happening. At this point, I realized that wait, I'm actually about to give birth. Yeah. So I can feel that I'm progressing more and more. And they get us into another room where there's the bath and a bed as well. So my partner was there. He was very supportive, bless him. He didn't know what to do, but no one knows what to do. Is a first for both of us. I go into the water. It's very hot, it's very nice, but I still have the worst contractions you could ever think of. The pain was 7 out of 10. It's not 10 yet because I know when the 10 out of 10 comes. That's why. Okay, so at this point, I'm already in the water. And then, I kid you not, 1 hour after being in that water, I started screaming my lungs out like there was no tomorrow. I could feel everything in my lower back, in my lower belly, as if I was laying on the train tracks and the train was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through my uterus. That's how painful it was for me. I do not want to scare you. Honestly, now I've forgotten what the pain was. But when I was at that stage, it was the most painful thing ever. And I remember someone said, I read somewhere that going through labor is the second most painful thing, and the first one is being burned alive. Trust me, I feel like it tops being burned alive because this was insane. So at this point, there is a room next to me, there's a woman screaming, I'm screaming. At this point, I'm just like, okay, I have to accept my fate. This is happening. It's happening. I just have to focus. I had a comb, like a birthing comb, that you just basically squeeze, and apparently it does something. It did not do anything for me. Waste of money. I don't know why I bought it. For other people, some other women said it worked for them. Not for me, unfortunately. Nothing worked for me. They gave me gas and air. Gas and air did not work for me. If anything, it made my head very dizzy and I was like feeling nauseous, and I don't want to be giving birth and feeling nauseous at the same time. So I just left it there, and the pain was so painful that I couldn't even think about grabbing the gas and air and inhale it. That's how painful it was. I had to focus on the pain, I had to focus on myself, on what was going on with my body, and I had to just prepare for what's coming. So at this point, the midwives are coming to check in, and I'm already in active labor. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, and then I had a mirror. So they put a mirror to check if it's coming or if they see like an opening. And my water breaks in the pool. I didn't know when it broke in. I'm in the water, so I don't know when my waters broke, but they did tell me that they broke. The time comes, Now it's like around 3:30 and I start to push. They're telling me, push. You know when to push. Your body knows when to push. I'm screaming at them. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know when to push. This is ridiculous. I don't know what to do. I'm so much pain. When is it gonna come? Please take this baby out of me. I was literally screaming this over and over again. And finally, I feel the urge to push. And everyone says that when you feel the urge to push, it's like you're doing a number two. No, it's not like you're doing a number two. It's like you're giving birth to a baby. There's absolutely nothing with, yeah. Please don't compare. Stop comparing things to things, because there are different type of pains, and only people that experience it knows how it feels and how different it is. So yeah, so I start pushing. I push like 5 times. Mind you, every single push there was a contraction, and every single contraction was already 1 minute apart each. So I had like 1 minute, not even 1 minute, it was like 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds I had to get every energy out of my body and start pushing and pushing and pushing. So I pushed her finally, and it felt so relieving. I finally pushed her. She just ejected out of me into the pool. She ejected out of me into the water, and the midwife was like, she's here. And at this point I'm like, oh my god, I don't even know what to do. Like, she's somewhere in the water, I can't take her. So I just start like, because mind you guys, I don't know what the heck is happening at this point. I just know that I felt relief, and I see her in the pool and I grab her immediately, and she was so small and so tiny, and she has like little hairs, and obviously when they come out they're a little bit deformed, but because of the hormones, I'm crying, my husband crying, the baby's crying, and I'm just like holding her next to my chest. I'm like, oh my god, she's so small, she's so cute. And then the pain doesn't stop there. Let me tell you, when you give birth, the pain does not stop there. I wish someone told me that, because there's like the after as well. So I just went out of the water. The midwife was cleaning it, bless them. Such a great team. We did skin to skin, and then we did a delayed umbilical cord cutting, and my husband cut the cord. And then so while he was doing the skin to skin, obviously he didn't know what to do. The baby's there holding her, he doesn't know what to do. And then they transfer me into another bed. I had a blood clot still in me, so the midwife was doing everything she could to take it out of me, because obviously everything has to be taken out before they stitch you up. First degree tears. I did have a few stitches. We get transferred to another room. That room is where I will be staying with the baby throughout the whole night, so they can check on us. And I thought that, oh my god, finally I can have some sleep, right? No, I did not have any sleep from May 11th at 3 a.m. in the morning up until she was 3 months. We go into that other room that we were supposed to stay in. So the hospital provides you food, everything. They always check up on you, check up on the baby if you're okay. So I had a shower. I was very dizzy after the shower, but I still managed to shower because I had to take all of the dirt out of me. Nobody told me that there was going to be multiple checks throughout the night. People say, like, everyone told me, rest up, you need to sleep, you just ran a marathon, you did an amazing work. But did you let me sleep? No, you didn't, because they had to check up on you and the baby every 2 hours, every 4 hours, and the baby was crying, and they were changing her and she was crying again. Thinking about it now, I don't know, I do not know how I survived that without my husband, because there was no space for him to sleep there. There was only a bed for me. Oh, I forgot to mention that they also help you with breastfeeding, and they wouldn't really let you out until you know how to breastfeed, if you want to breastfeed. I didn't have any milk until 3 days in after giving birth, but she was constantly sucking and sucking. And then on the third day, I was talking to the midwife, and I was like, there's no milk coming in, but I know that I will have milk. I just know it. And then while I was on the phone and I'm checking my pump, and there's like a lot of milk coming out, and I'm so happy. And also, nobody tells you that when the baby is breastfeeding, right after you give birth, every single time she breastfeeds, you feel cramps. The period cramps this time. You feel cramps and they're painful. It's only every single time that she's breastfeeding. But yes, the labor was like 3 hours, and I had her at 3:45 exactly. She was weighing 2.8 kgs and she was around 48 centimeters long, and she is the most precious girl ever. And yeah, she is 8 months now. I would still consider myself postpartum because I'm still breastfeeding, I'm still recovering. I would say I'm recovering mentally and internally. But all in all, this was my labor story with gestational diabetes. I actually had a labor plan, and kid you not, everything went to plan. I got my water birth, vaginal birth. I didn't get any epidural, didn't get any medication, didn't even take Gestational, and I birthed her very quickly with no complications, first degree stitches, and everything was okay. So yeah, so if you are pregnant now, I urge you to trust yourself, and whatever it is that your birth looks like, even if you do take epidural, just a reminder that you are strong, your feelings and choices are valid, and you should make sure in the man a midwife that listens to you and will do what you wish. I also want to put a disclaimer that this is my birth story. That's how I navigated through my birth. Does not necessarily has to be yours. This is entirely my experience and my alone. Okay guys, so with this we are reaching the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want a postpartum recovery breastfeeding journey. I also want to say thank you guys for listening to my story and clicking on this video. I really actually do hope you enjoyed this video. So thank you guys for listening to my story, and I'll see you in the next one.